Hi and welcome back to dwpcorruption.co.uk and the interview with my good friend Alan Darby. We've been covering a great deal of the animal rights campaign and the situation of pulling the anchor, and also the person responsible for this atrocity, John Miller, head of culture and leisure for Dudley Council, or Dodgy Council as we're now calling it. And in respect of that, Duncan Lowndes, Assistant Director, gives his side of the story. But for now, I'm going to be giving you Alan Darby, handing over to you, Alan, again to carry on with what we was talking about. This is a real serious issue, isn't it? And people don't realise what pain and atrocity that these poor horses must have been put through.
Indeed. Well, when the anchor, I saw it, I photographed it. I'll share the photographs in due course. I looked at the trailer. The horses weren't tethered to the trailer, and I walked round it, and there was only a parking up brake on there, which you use by means of winding it up, and that was to lock the back wheels when it was parked up, as would be any commercial trailer. Now, I looked and I had a good look. There was no brakes on the trailer. And
no brakes on the trailer?
No brakes at all.
You are joking.
There's no brakes on the trailer. There's no means of putting any brakes on the trailer, unless, if you want to use, make a joke out of it, if you just stuck air hoses up the horses' backsides and they all in unison broke wind, there were hydraulic brakes on the trailer. It was used on a commercial vehicle, an 8-wheel commercial vehicle trailer with no brakes. The only way you could operate the brakes on the trailer is if you had a lorry with hydraulic connections to it. It had no brakes. The horses had no means of stopping. Nobody had any means of stopping that other than by horsepower. It would have mowed the horses down if they'd have tried to pull it, if it had run amok. Now, this stunt was advertised well in advance of the day that it took place. There were estimated 2,000 plus people there lining the streets, which meant that if this was in actual fact going to take place the way the council said, the horses was pulling the trailer from Dudley Port Station, that was, to Noah Hindley's, was about 5-6 miles. It would have killed the horses. They would have been killed. The trailer would have mowed them down, and the tackle that they used, the equipment to pull the trailer on the horses, was totally inadequate. It was cruel, and if the RSPCA would have been there, it would have been stopped. Why it wasn't stopped, if I could see it, surely the police officers on duty to keep the crowd in order noticed what I noticed. In actual fact, if you see the DVDs on the internet, you'll see a police officer, a motorbike police officer, a traffic officer, and I believe he stopped the procession and they only went half a mile. And in that half a mile, there were all 20 horses were lined up pulling the trailer. It was illegal, it was on a road, it was cruelty, it was a criminal offence to put the trailer on the road with no brakes to start with. And it was another criminal offence to put horses to it, cruelty to the horses, and a criminal offence to allow them to pull it. Even if it was being pulled by brake by a trailer, it had no brakes. The trailer only had its own weight to stop it. If something had gone wrong, it would have killed the horses. It would have killed people. It would have killed horses.
So this is why we've had the campaign then with the animal rights people.
That's right.
Those poor horses must have been put through hell.
They were, because the equipment that they used, if the horses would have been pulling that, which they did come under pressure, in actual fact the rigging broke on the second pair of horses, and it showed on the internet, on the photographs on the internet, that the rigging is on the floor. The horses have broke the chain, the rigging's broke, the equipment wasn't up to it, and I saw only 2 horses that had correct chandlery on there. The other horses, the moment they took the strain on it, the collars would have been trying to choke them. It was horrendous. I am an horse artist, and my sentiment was, it made me feel sick. I couldn't watch the pulls. I had to leave because I was fearing that not only horses would be injured, people would be killed or maimed. And this was a premeditated criminal act of negligence, instigated by both Channel 4, Shed Media and Dudley Borough Council. It was a criminal act. They took a trailer on the road knowing it had no brakes. They put 20 horses on it knowing they had no brakes. They invited the public to come and see the show knowing that it was dangerous. Could have been life-threatening. They are very lucky they never faced manslaughter charges. And they had a dangerous load which slipped. The anchor slipped while the tractor was pulling it, and it fell. If the horses had been underneath the anchor when it fell, the shank of the anchor, the front part of the anchor that was overhanging the tractor by a metre would have broke the horses' backs. It would have killed the horses. It was disgraceful.
What I can't understand or come to terms with here is the fact that Dudley Borough Council are well equipped with the facts of health and safety.
Indeed.
So Duncan Lowndes, the Assistant Director, is ultimately responsible to have researched and made sure that this entire project was safe on that particular day.
Well, the whole thing was a scam from start to finish.
It's going to be a scam if Wragge Co Solicitors are involved. You know, I mean, Dudley Council use Wragge Co for any corruption that they possibly can, and we've got evidence of this. This is substantiated. So where that's concerned, the people that we're talking about today, being Duncan Lowndes and John Miller, Head of Culture, this is a total wash, man. Well, a total wash.
It is, yeah. But let me deal with the anchor now, the pull. What they done in actual fact, the tractor pulled it to a flat part of a dual carriageway, a flat part of it. Then they coupled the horses to the anchor and they pulled it a couple of 100 yards. And in that few 100 yards, they say half a mile, the rigging broke, the anchor had already slipped, a dangerous load, that's another criminal offence. It was balanced on pieces of wood, 4 inches by ½ inch by 1 inch, and it slipped while the tractor was pulling it.
Disgusting.
The shank weighs at least 6 tonne. Now imagine the overhang, it's in the back of the horses weighing 6 tonne, it would have crippled the horses, and if that had have happened, the rest of the horses would have realised something was wrong. And 20 horses, I don't care what kind of, they could have tipped that trailer, they could have tipped the tractor over as well if they'd have run into a panic mode. And there was under stress, there was due rest, there was panicking, and some of the horses should not have been on there because the equipment wasn't even adequate to tow, shall we say, a brewery's dray. However, the anchor was then taken to Netherton. And at Netherton, it was put on a plinth, a pad, a concrete pad, which the council had made outside the community centre. They put the anchor on there. The towing part of it was simply done to make the film We Built Titanic for Channel 4. Shed Media wanted just that part of the programme to show the anchor being pulled as it was years ago, circa 1909, when the real anchor was pulled on the lorry, on the flatbed lorry, to Dudley Port Station. However, to make the documentary, they wanted to say, we created the pull. It was a sham, it was a lie, it was illegal, they committed criminal acts, and only a fool would film himself committing a criminal act. I think you'll agree with that, Martin. You'd have to be some kind of a sucker to film yourself committing a criminal act. And they did just that. Now, when they got it to Netherton, they lifted it up with a big hire crane and they put it on this plinth, which was purposely made by the council for it at a cost to the public.
Again, got to stop you, Al, because of the timing on the videos. Back shortly.